Today we move to something which is even more new than what you have been listening the other time. Okay, what you have been listening, maybe someone said, oh, there is something interesting, but nevertheless, this is part of something that is taught. Now we are going to speak about not just designing a clothing, but what we call a system of clothing product service, or better still, a sustainable clothing product service system. Okay, and we will see why this is interesting. To check which is the mouse that move. Okay, the presentation. And so I want to start by making you an introduction to this concept, and how I do it here. You know, we have a traditional offer of. I look at this computer is bigger. A traditional offer of selling clothes to kids, and an offer which is a sustainable product service system offer, in which we enable the kids, the babies, to wear the clothes. But let's go a little bit. So in this case, okay, there is a baby clothes manufacturer that is selling the clothes, and the user is actually indeed paying for the cloth, retaining the ownership of the cloth that is sold, right? And what changed here is that the user is not indeed buying the cloth, but is paying per use of time, all right? In this case, per a given period. And the ownership, and this is a key difference between the two offers. In the first case goes by the user, this was said. In the second case, as it is the case indeed of this company offering, so the ownership remain by the provider, the manufacturer, all right? And what changed here? Well, something changed, but why this could be interesting in terms of environmental, and I start to say even economic sustainability. To say a bit more, indeed, there is a paper period that include a monthly subscription, as well as the delivery of the clothes, and some services along the life cycle. So they are repairing, they are collecting at the end of the life, they are taking care of washing and so on, okay? And this is all included, okay? So they are paying per month, and all this is included, and they don't have the ownership of the clothes. So let's look a little bit about the economic, the balance between the economic and the environmental benefits, all right? If you look at the, you remember the phases of a product life cycle: pre-production, production. Okay, so if we are in the production phase, indeed, in both of the cases, there is the interest in reducing this consumption of resources. So, okay, even a manufacturer that is producing a cloth, well, since all the process is consuming more energy, or if they have to buy more clothes, this could be a cost, so they want to reduce. So nothing changed in relation to the two situations. Something changed when we move to the use phase. And can you guess why in the use phase there could be an interest for the clothing manufacturer to design for, you remember, long-lasting clothes or clothing? Can you guess why? We said something in the introductory lecture at the beginning. I made a very short example about that, but now we go into the depth of this. Sorry? Why there is an interest for the company usually we know that maybe they are interested because of programmable obsolescence to sell even more so that they don't last long. So this is a big problem for environmental sustainability. So if they would produce, if the clothes are produced as they are produced now, so that maybe they don't last long, okay, as in a traditional offer model, they have to produce a new one and a new one and a new one and a new one. But the cost of this, of purchasing material, pre-production, of manufacturing the clothes, distributing the clothes, and disposing the old clothes, who's paying this? Is in the shoulder of the manufacturer. Is this correct? Yes. So they are paid per month, not for the other. They don't they don't have the ownership. So they are interested in designing for long-lasting product, which was one of the strategies that we were quite interested in. Okay, and we understood why that was interesting. And what about the use intensification? You remember, even this was a strategy. So to intensify the use, so that maybe there is not just one person using, but another person is using the same clothes in a different period of time and something like this, or different component and so on. Can you guess why there could be an interest even here? The company that I was presenting. But if think about, we can think about the cloth that is used by different, no, it could be even in that case. Okay, so that is used in different time. But since if we are paying per time of use or per each time that I'm using this cloth, better the company is good in the service of, you know, having so that there is no, the clothes is almost all the time used, better the gain. Better is the economic gain because they get more money. If they have one cloth that is there, is not used, and then they wait the day after that someone come and pick the clothes, so they have not well organized the system or the product or the mix of the product or the system, lower is the income. Okay, so even intensifying the use of clothes, which is one of the key strategy, another strategy of life cycle design that we understood the other time, become an economic interest. Okay, we will see this a little bit better later. Okay, this is introduction. And what about material recycling? Is there an interest in the manufacture of the clothes? In we said extend the lifespan of the material. Let's speak about recycling. Is there an economic interest in doing this? You don't have to buy your raw material, close to what she was saying. Another thing, you don't have to pay for the disposal, okay? Anyhow, to dispose of. It's a cost for transportation, for doing something, for someone that is had to deal with this, okay? So again, design for recycling become an economic interest. You get a point? So what I really want to what I really want to highlight with this preliminary example is the fact that we have a win-win opportunity related to this. Economic, there is an economic driver that lead toward designing low environmental impact clothes. Okay, let's go a little bit on. So, and we will see that indeed, in this type of offer, as we will see, and I will explain in the next slide why most of the life cycle design strategy become interesting for an economic term. So it would be the manufacturer saying to the designer, to you, I want to get more money. You have to design with a low environmental impact. Okay. So it's almost twisted the system in relation to the traditional offer, okay? But before, I want to make some example, highlighting three main typology of sustainable product service system, okay? And try to keep attention about this, because at the end of the day, you will be indeed, with a tool that we will present, work generating idea to have a model offer that are win-win in economic and environmental terms, okay? This is a nevertheless, what they do, they sell the blue jeans, so they sell it in this case, okay? They sell the blue jeans with all-inclusive, the service for repair. So without, it's always free, okay? So they can take it to the shop, they have shop to repair, and they do this. If the shop to repair is too far away, they can give a kit to repair themselves and so on. What they do, since it's made in this way, they design the clothes so that actually the blue jeans, usually they are quite resistant, but they are even more resistant, okay? And they are even using organic cotton and other things which are not that bad for sustainability. But in this case, this is what I want to highlight, okay? This is one example that represent one first typology of a sustainable clothing product service system. It's called clothing product oriented SPSS, or SPSS stand for Sustainable Product Service System. Such a product service system adding value to clothes or clothing care product. It could be even a clothing care product, a washing machine, okay? We are considering now the clothing system. So all the things that makes us, that make it possible that we can wear a cloth, okay? So I need even to wash the cloth or to repair the cloth or to do other things, all right? And I can read the definition together with you. This could be, you see one example. You will see with Luca other example related to some strategy later on. But anyhow, is a situation in which a company or an organization or an alliances of company, this may happen, is offering, actually is selling, in this case is selling, not as the preliminary example, is selling the product, the cloth, but with all-inclusive a set of life cycle services. So it could be maintenance, repair, upgrading. We see repair in the example. Could be upgrading, could be substitution, could be take back at the end of the life, and so on, for a product that is sold to the customer. So the customer owns the clothes, but is she or he is less responsible about the caring activity that you have to do. Of course, you have to wear the clothes, but about the caring activity that you have to do for the clothes during the life cycle and at the end of the life cycle. This is a first typology of win-win SPSS, okay? Here I have another example. This is a paper wash by Bundles that make, they made a kind of a partnership with the Miele that is producing a washing machine in the Netherlands. And what actually they offer a washing machine to you, to us, that is not owned by me, neither by you. And you can wash your thing. So you are indeed washing the clothes at your home. But what you pay per month a fee, and you pay per wash. Anytime you wash, you pay something. And this includes even the, there are two options, but let's say the most interesting one is the one that include even the delivery of the detergent, okay? So they are offering not only the washing machine that remain in the ownership of the producer, the installation, the maintenance, the reparation, the end of life collection, if something happened, and the detergent. All right. And can you guess here why there are some quite interesting issue related to sustainability, which are an economic benefit for the provider? So what they want to have a washing machine that lasts just 2 years and 1 month after the warranty? No, they have to, the production, the disposal of the other, and so on. And what about consumption of the detergent? Are they interested, since they are paying the detergent themselves because they are offering this? Are they interested in innovating the washing machine so that it consumes as less detergent as possible? Oh, yes, indeed. So even consumption during the use phase. And what about recycling at the end? They have to collect it back. Why not to design for recycling, as we saw before? Okay, you get the point? It's we may call it a product service system, but one thing that could be interesting in this case is that the manufacturer of the washing machine is the one that indeed develop and design the product. So put the money there in research and development to design long-lasting product, to design a washing machine that consume less detergent, could be even energy inside if they offer take this. And so there is a direct interest in doing this. So if we have an offer to the washing machine, to the laundry system that is an SPSS as this one, and we have some Electrolux is doing something like this, even this is good, okay? So we call this a second type of clothing product service system, which is a we call them clothing care oriented SPSS. So it's an SPSS enabling the clothing care platform for customer, like for example the washing machine, but could be even other tools. Okay. So more in general is a situation in which a company or an organization of company or an alliances of company provide access to cloth or clothing care product. We are thinking in a system level. I'm saying this again. Okay, to have a cloth, I need to have even other tools to have that cloth and to be able to wear it. That enable the customer to take care of the cloth. Okay. And this could be about maintenance, repair, upgrading, and other things. Okay, now we saw the caring related to the washing, but there could be other type of drying or other things and so on. What changed between the first one is that the customer, us, you, we are not owning the washing machine, okay? But we are operating on them, okay? So we are the one that wash, that do the things, okay? That take care about this. Why I'm highlighting this? Because there is a third typology in which this is not happening, all right? So I'm going to show you first an example. This is in Brescia, it's a very small company. The mother, the daughter, and few other, but they are very nice. And what they offer, and you pay per, the payment is, you pay per period. And once a week you go there, you have 14 type of clothes, and you take back seven clothes, and you take other 7 clothes. So, and this is, there is not just one customer, there are several customers. So you are not owning when you are taking it back, they are taking care about washing, drying, repairing, upgrading, and doing all those things and so on. And you can say, okay, I'm using the cloth of that maybe someone else has been used. So they give a guarantee that they are well sanitized. But if you can think into the other dimension, you may have a huge wardrobe of things that you would have never thought to have, because it would be too expensive, you know, to have so many clothes that in this case would be available to you. Okay. This we call a third type, is the last type of SPSS for clothing. And we call it clothing result-oriented SPSS, okay? It's a kind of a full service. This is why we call it result-oriented, providing clothing, wear and care, full services to customer. And if we want to generalize, to think even about other, is the situation in which a company or an alliances of company and so on provide access to clothes with all-inclusive or clothing care product with all-inclusive life cycle services like maintenance, repair, end-of-life collection, upgrading, and so on. So again, here, you or us, we are not owning the clothes or the clothing care product, but we are not taking, of course, we are wearing the clothes, okay, because this is something we have to do, but we are not taking care about the caring, okay? So that is the difference between the other. In the other, I'm taking about the caring of this, even though it's not in my ownership. In this case, it's not in my ownership, but I need to take care about that. So someone else is doing this. It's a full service, okay? You get the difference. Indeed, for the customer, it's different, but even for who has to provide this, it means that it has to be equipped in a certain way and so on, okay? But the advantages, again, can we see the same advantages that we saw before? The manufacturer is interested in designing for long-lasting product that consume less energy, less resourcing during the use, that are easy to be maintained, that are easy to be recycled, and so on. Okay, for an economic reason. Underline, for an economic reason. And so to make a synthesis of these three, okay, I use this, it's an adaptation of, because product service system, I told you the first lecture has been studied since the end of, the beginning of 2000, let's say, okay? And now we made a research that was focused on clothing. So in fact, even some definition and something is slightly different from the general theory and the model and the practice of this. For example, we call care-oriented. In the other, they call the second typology use-oriented, but I don't come to this too academic thing. Nevertheless, we can see these three typology, a product-oriented like the first one that we saw, so in which there is a selling of these blue jeans with all-inclusive life cycle services. Care-oriented, in which we are providing, enabling clothing care equipment, ownerless clothing care equipment. And the other one in which we are providing ownerless clothing or clothing care, but with a full service, okay? So we see that the product dimension and the service dimension is higher in the first typology, product dimension, and is lower in the last one, okay? When it's a full service, the service dimension is higher, okay? I have to tell it with you again with some scheme so that it really, I try to make it fix a little bit more in your memory, because this will be part of the design exercise. And to be honest, you will be evaluated in relation to the result if you are designing not the best system and whatever, but if you get to the point of a win-win solution, okay? So I show you some okay, here I was just highlighting that there is a paradigm shift in the model offer from, I forgot I had this slide. So we move from selling product to selling what we call a unit of satisfaction, to wear clothes, okay? So we are not thinking to the product, but to what we are satisfied of, right? We move through from individually ownership to assess. The first type of PSS, you remain the owner, even though you have all inclusive. So it could be that it is even that. And you will see, and we will discuss this a little bit later, but the innovation is not at the beginning an innovation in terms of technological innovation. This comes later, before there is a shift in the model of the offer. That is what that makes the technological innovation to be introduced, the environmentally sustainable technological innovation to be introduced. We call it that there is a new interaction among the stakeholder, the provider and the user or other stakeholder. We say this when we speak about system innovation, in the theory of system innovation, that we design a new configuration of the stakeholder of the clothing system, all right? And this has win-win solution. And I'm not going to read this. It's only what you can find it on the book. It's simply what I said now. We are offering, I said I'm not going to read them, but I'm saying anyhow as a synthesis. What we are offering is a mix of product and services, okay, that fulfill what we call a unit of satisfaction, that in the clothing is to wear or other things, in which the innovation among the stakeholder interaction is a key point. And if this is made in a way that the clothing or clothing care product remain in the ownership of the provider, or that the provider is offering all-inclusive life cycle services, there is an economic interest in design for sustainability for the clothing, okay? So here I want to, I need to, no, I can read maybe there without the glasses as well, because it's bigger. So now I want to show you with some scheme that maybe you should bear in mind why we have this win-win benefit, okay? So we saw some example, we saw 3 main typology, and now we go into the design guidelines related to product and so on. So here we are in a situation in a PSS offer model where the provider is offering the cloth or the clothing care product, retaining the ownership and being paid per unit of satisfaction, or offering all-inclusive the cloth or clothing care product with its maintenance, repair, and upgrade. So when you see this dashed square, you will learn that we will use it, you will use it with a tool that is called system map. You will design stakeholder configuration. You don't know what we are going to ask you to do. Wait a while, but nevertheless, this is highlighting that the ownership of the garment remain by the producer, okay? So we link the actors, the stakeholder with the product, okay? So this is to highlight this. being in the situation that I said, the customer is paying per period, okay? Because this is the type of PSS that is happening. What happens if you are using an existing garment, as we are doing now? After a while, it won't be usable anymore. It will be broken, or it won't be. It will be out of use. Okay. So we have to do a new one. Okay. But remember, the customer is paying per use. And who's going to pay the disposal cost of this cloth that is at the end of the life? And who is going to pay the pre-production, the production, and the distribution of the new one? Is the manufacturer. Okay? Because this is the deal. Full stop. So here what we have an economic driver to move towards long-lasting clothes. Okay? And why? We said something before, but now it should become more clear. What happened? We cut the disposal cost there. These are not there anymore for the manufacturer, okay? So that's an economic driver. Not only, we cut even the pre-production, the production, and the distribution cost, okay? These are economic costs, but they are as well environmental costs. And so to make a synthesis, the longer the cloth or the clothing or the clothing care product lasts, the less are the cost of, but can I come to the end of the slide? Okay. Of pre-production, production, distribution, and disposal, as we saw here, okay? That means, and here we come to what Luca told you the other time about one of the key life cycle design strategy of product in general, but clothing, that there is an economic interest of the producer to design for clothing care product lifespan extension. Okay, the question was?
Invested on some aspect of the production, changing the business model to that one, from that one to this one. Very expensive, it's completely different. Because they have to, like, if you produce less clothes, you have to sell it at higher prices.
Well, there is a cost. So the cost is a cost. Then it depends on what kind of cloth you are doing. But you can think that there is a kind of a gain sharing. So, sorry?
If the quality of the clothes is low, the production.
So maybe you are not.
So high.
Well, it depends. You have to be okay. You have. If you make something which is a shit, of course, no one is going to buy. But the point is, okay, we have to do, first of all, sustainable. But then you have to compare with something that indeed has a value, okay? It doesn't say that something that has a value necessarily have a high cost, but there is a cost for the production of the material, for the transportation of the material, for the manufacturing of the material, for having people producing and doing this and so on. So, sorry? This is, no. This is. The point is that they have to shift towards a system like this, and this may offer them opportunity to do this. All right.
No, I mean,
Yeah, no, it is like this, and there is even again sharing, because of course they get the money, they have the even longer loyalty with the client, because and there are several other advantages that now I'm not highlighting. Now I'm only highlighting the operational cost, and so there is a strategic positioning, there is and several other things like that. Okay. And if you don't, I mean, several study has been made in relation to this. So I can tell you that this may happen. It is happening. Some company are doing. And you can I told you, finally, after several years, even EU in the document, you remember the action plan for the circular economy approved. It was said move towards offer model in which the ownership of the product remain, whether it's a textile or other, remain by the producer, or they offer all-inclusive life cycle services and so on. Okay. And indeed, the overall cost of the system is lower. Okay, because we are consuming less. Okay, we are consuming less material, so the overall cost is lower. If the overall cost is lower, in economical terms, we speak about gain sharing. Okay, so there is a sharing of the gain that could be divided between the producer and the user. Okay, if the system in overall costs less, I may have a very high quality product that I would not be able to afford or something. For example, this type of, since you don't have the initial investment cost to buy something, you may have access, even low income people that don't have the money may have access to this, right? Since they don't have to pay, if something broke, they don't have the money to repair this. But if this is all inclusive, they don't have the risk of, throwing something away because they don't have it. Okay. This is the case of clothing. This is the case. We have been studying even for the energy system in Africa and other things. And it has even a socio-ethical benefit. So you may have access indeed to high quality product, even environmentally sustainable, but even to high quality product. Okay. With a lower cost, because you don't have to buy, all right? But there is the gain sharing. The point is that this is the most promising model that has been studied together with distributed economy, okay? So we are moving, some companies start to do that. Of course, even governmental institutions should favor these things and so on. It's not that they have to, this is a win-win model. So it's not needed that there is an incentive, economic incentive in doing this, but to facilitate this throughout normative and something. So if these are with a lower environmental impact, why the other product that has a high environmental impact don't have to pay what are called internal costs? If they are polluting, why when we buy something, we are not paying the fact that we are polluting something? So there are economic theories about this and start to become reality and request us to move towards new offer mode. I show you quite fast why intensively using cloth. So if I'm using, let's look at the first one. In the first one case, the clothes are not so intensely used because they are using sometime. In the second case, who is offering has managed to do it in a better way. What happened? They get more money. All right. So easy to say. The more intensely we use, the higher is the economic benefit for the provider. Again, here we have a life cycle design strategy, which is, taken by hand from an economic driver. About the washing machine, if we have, I go faster because we said this, if we are in the situation in which we are paying per wash, and we already saw this. All the detergent, the water and the energy are paying like this. And if we have a usual washing machine, all those costs are paying by the washing machine provider. So there is an economic driver that say to the washing machine producer, now we put all the efforts to design products that are the most efficient in caring, in this case of washing, okay? Because we cut the cost, because they are paying the cost of energy, water, and detergent. We saw the case of detergent, but it could be that the offer is even wider. Again, here, the higher the efficiency, the higher the profit for the company. So an economic interest to design minimizing resource consumption during resource consumption during cloth and clothing care. This is about renewable energy. So this is for the end of life. If they offer an SPSS, you offer the taking back. So again, what we said before, the landfill cost when the T-shirt is at the end of the life will be paid by the manufacturer, okay? So there is an economic driver to design something that is easy to be recycled. Okay, the company pay the recycling cost, but they avoid the landfill cost. Furthermore, when they have to produce a new one, since they have a recycled material, when they have to produce a new one, they cut some cost of pre-production of a material, purchasing of a new material, okay? Okay, there is an economic interest. So we go fast on this because indeed we have, this is even related to toxicity. If in some cases, maybe it's not just related to the clothing, could be to the clothing in relation to when it's washing, the release of microplastic, but it could be related even to the washing system because the detergent. So if we assume, as it is said, that the manufacturer is responsible for the managing during the use or at the end of the life of the toxicity, indeed, there is an economic driver to move to non-toxic dyeing system, detergent, and whatever, because that would be their own cost. So they cut the cost of the treatment during the use as well during the end of life, okay? And so here again, I'm going faster. There is an economic interest to design for cloth care, toxicity, and harmful minimization, all right?